Okay, so season 2 of Hell's Paradise came out like a month and a bit ago, and yeah, I know I'm late. However, I was not going to skip past this anime before we get into it. So we start off the season with what looks like a meeting, two dudes from the Yamada Asaemon clan with the smug looking dude named Jika. We then flip to the other dude named Shugen. These guys start pressing Jika due to him being the only one to come back from the island, which is crazy to me because they sent people who was getting hyped up just to get packed in a matter of episodes. And yes, you already know I'm talking about this dude Aizen. Got this man looking like Hayata over here. Back to Jika though. Man wanted to get a little comfy and the old dude over here hitting him with a mean look. He then just starts explaining the story on how they were sent to the island to watch over the participants and how he was assigned to one of them. I ain't gonna lie, I forgot bro's name. He was not relevant whatsoever. Anyway, he's the guy that tried putting hands on Chobei, but as expected, the GOAT was quick to react, making light work of that bum, and now pre this man Jika, looking happy as ever, even shaking Chobei's hand now that he's got the green light to haul his ass out of there. But as he tried to go back, the current brought his ass back to the island. Now the old dudes look like they've seen a ghost, knowing that Jika is the only one to actually step foot on the island and return alive. The elders want him to expand on his statement, but in a nutshell, he says that there's no point and to stay clear of that island, stating that only fools and children poke out a beehive. Shugen starts apologizing on his behalf for his actions, but the old dude was saying that ain't gonna be enough, with his mans referring to him as the one. Now I ain't gonna lie, that nickname is hella tough, might even be up there with the Copy Ninja or the Yellow Flash. But with the elders finally backing down, they read the official letter from the Shogun himself, essentially saying that Shugen needs to pick new monitors and that they're gonna go back to the island once more. We then see those two walking outside, and this man Shugen deadass looks like he wanna catch a body. He's basically upset with Jika for his actions, stating that he's only acting in Aizen's stead, making me think that we're about to see another fraud. They start talking and eventually get to the topic of who to take on the island. Shugen then says that we are taking the Ugakure Shinobi, which are on bad terms with our boy Gabimaru, and tells Jika that they, not him, not others, they are spinning back to the island in a couple of days. And I know my man Jika was stressing, and shit, I will be too. A pedestrian then comes up to them talking about some, what do we do about the monster sitting there? We then see that it's the Guardian of the Sea that was stopping people from leaving, with Jika saying that he forgot to show this to the old dudes. Jika getting close to the guy and essentially asking him out or if he wants to roll through to the ends. And excuse me, this gave me flashbacks to Shido, cause there ain't no reason to be doing all that. And this dude over here looking like he was enjoying it. And now that me personally, I ain't indulging that type of stuff. But hey, to each their own. The pedestrian then says not to touch it due to the possibility of it still being alive. But Shugen says nah, shit is most definitely dead, walking up to go meet the other people that he's taken to the island. We then cut to Ren talking about Tao and how it's life itself, and also how when taken in large quantities there are various side effects. Then Shotty with the pink hair pulls up and gets pressed that they're sat there talking about such topics, with the little dude bowing his head, apologizing, and the other Tenshin saying to do the opposite and hold it up high, as it shows some freaky ass villa. I know for a fact I would not want to be there. She then starts talking to Ren, saying that it's their new training ground, with Ren saying that it's perfect indeed. He then starts yapping and essentially saying that it's perfect for breathing exercises and that Bojujutsu, with another Tenshin calling them silly, saying that the best way to live should be in the middle of yin and yang. It then shows some Tenshin getting it on, and I just know it can't be that good for your head to be getting blown off like that. Shit, he does not have a Johnny Sings level. She really described it as sublime, like you gotta chill, it could not have been that nice. They then show Saguri and everyone else, and can I say that they got that shit on. The fit is looking fresh, and you already know that the tailor is smiling, knowing he did a good job. Saguri just says the plan to reunite with Gabimaru and Mei, but Yuzu starts questioning going to get the elixir, knowing that the Tenshin are lurking around, and she has all right to be scared. If I had to fight one of those guys too, I would want to back out. But after a little back and forth with Yuzu saying that they should come to a conclusion, to which being to wait outside for Gabimaru, as if he comes to get the elixir of life, he would have to pass there. But the fact still remained that if they had to meet up Gabimaru, what course of action would they take with the wife situation? That scene ends off with Sagiri in deep thought. We then cut to Gabimaru and the squad walking around trying to find the Tenzin castle. Gabimaru then says in his head that his memory hasn't returned and that he's on an insane mission according to the group, and he doesn't know why he even agreed to it. He then questions if he's just following orders or if he has some other reason, which we know is his wife. Fuchi then notices something wrong and asks him if he's alright, and that back there he seems unwell. Gabimaru gives him the nastiest side eye I've seen in a minute, then replies that he's fine. Then out of nowhere, we see Chobe and his brother Toma at the top of a rock, and can I just say, they hitting that shit. You could tell that they was on timing, ready for anything about to go down. Then Chobe starts saying that they're all in the same predicament, tossing one of the monster underlings, laughing. This nigga then runs up to Gabimaru and hits him with a kick, which Gabimaru blocks. But this man Chobe has knockback 3 on that shit and pushes Gabimaru back. Chobe tries grabbing Gabi but ultimately fails as Gabi gets on top of Chobe and snaps his neck. We then see Gabimaru drop down as he thinks the fight's over with Big Dog stating that shit was lame, but May with her 6th sense says that he should be careful and that his towel's big, with Chobe smiling and Gabimaru being caught off guard, lifting him up in the sky, hitting a devastating body slam. After taking a little nap, Gabimaru wakes up and asks himself if this was the guy that everyone was referring to last night, saying he would tie him up and get information. He tries to hit a kick, but Chobe catches it once again, hitting a devastating ground slam on Gabimaru. Chobe, thinking the fight's done with, he tries walking away, but doesn't know that Gabimaru took some za just before the fight began, and now he starts laughing, prompting Chobe to stay. We then see Gabimaru pull up his mask, meaning we about to see him lock in, and it's about damn time. Right now he 1 for 3, and it's not looking good for all the fans out there. He then uses his ninjutsu to distract Chobe and hits a double kick targeting his brain, followed up with a 1-2 to the dome and gouged out his eyes like it was second nature. But Chobe eats all of that shit up and stops the attack by blocking Gabimaru with his feet, sending that nigga flying, giving Chobe just enough time to quickly regenerate. Gabimaru quickly gets back up and starts that one-on-one hand-to-hand combat. Gabi tries chomping on Chobe, but he's just playing passive and eventually gets one to the dome. Gabimaru follows up by getting on Chobe and rips one of his arteries. Squad in the back over there commenting, comparing them two to beasts, but Chobe heals, calling him a sorry-ass punk, stomping on the ground to assert dominance. Then says he seems stronger than mainland, so he purposefully took hits to see how strong he was, but turned out he was a sorry-ass motherfucker. Chobe then starts dashing to Gabimaru with a powered up towel fist. Then Gabimaru tries making a wall, but it was useless as Chobe burst through it like the dog he is, hitting Gabimaru in the process. Gabimaru throws a left, but Chobe activates the Sharingan and blocks that shit with ease, countering and giving Gabimaru an uppercut just to realize the Gabimaru took 2 of his fingers with him. But he wasn't tripping as he hit an instant regen, with Chobe calling him out, saying he fights dirty and that's all he can do, with even Tamiya calling his move slop, saying he was much stronger before. But May says that his Tao's essentially wrong and that the balance is strong and weak, finishing off by saying Gabimaru was missing something. He then runs back into the fight. Chobe then starts throwing out jabs left, right, and center, with Gabimaru redirecting one of them, then tears the side of his face, but Chobe laughs at that shit off and tells Gabimaru to eat that palm. He then shouts to his brother to go after the others, and Fuchi was just there stunned. Toma starts off by running to Gantetsu, but got his shit stopped like Ichigo, and he was offended that he was viewed as weak cause he got a little handicap. He grabbed him and headbutted him to the ground, and he said, "I ain't even gonna draw my blade on your weak ass." He eventually gets up and tries again, but gets bopped, locks back in, tries going for the sweep, but Big Dog just stood on the blade, looked him in the eye, and called him nothing but a kid with potential. And he just starts putting Toma to work while lecturing him like he in a classroom. But Toma back to glazing, saying that he follows his big brother and that the only people that they need is each other. But we go back to the main attraction, and they is just going at it. Chobe says that Gabimaru is strong, but he ain't got shit on him due to him being able to see Gabimaru's movements thanks to Tao. Chobe then hits that man with a down slam with both hands, giving Gabimaru a concussion and even more brain damage than he had before. Gabimaru said fuck it, we ball, and popped his fire style jutsu, thinking back to his old chief's words about putting his life on the line by dealing as much damage to the enemy as possible. Chobe saw through that and was stunned that he actually planned on murking himself. Gabimaru used fire-style jutsu and kicked some flaming rod, penetrating Chobei's body. Gabimaru follows and jumps on Chobei, pushing him to the ground, with Chobei's regeneration not being able to keep up with the attack. Gabimaru calls out Chobei, saying that because he has something of value, he will not be able to beat him. Chobei took that shit personally and popped his ultimate, and we see that this motherfucker turned into one of the tail beasts. Toma's weak ass over here screaming brother, with those red vines targeting Gabimaru. He's dodging, well I'll be damned. So now Chobei puts all of his vines into one, making a shield, and Gabimaru uses fireball jutsu again. Chobei jumps into the air and tries down slamming Gabimaru, but he blocks that, and Chobei doesn't let up as he starts a barrage of attacks with Gabimaru setting it all on fire. They go back to their respective sides, but Chobei dashes and starts sending all types of attacks Gabimaru's way. Big Dog's asking why he's not using Tao, but Mei essentially says that he can't because he forgot, and just as Gabimaru was about to sacrifice himself, he feels a hand on his shoulder, and it whispers into his ear that seemingly made him to lock the hell in. As both sides, Gabimaru and Chobei, are now dashing at each other. Gabimaru jumps, but his body is clearly giving out. The squad is confused as they thought they were both fighting for the pardon, but now they're just out here brawling. Toma's useless ass once again came to the realization that Chobei is doing all of this for him. Chobei starts his tailed attacks again, but this time Gabimaru is actually dodging them. As Chobei starts dashing, saying kill, Gabimaru is still dodging, but as time goes on, Chobei starts to lose vision. Then we see Toma, who's been pierced by one of Chobei's tails because he got in between. Now he's talking about he realizes Chobei did all of this for him, and he has to come to his senses. But Gabimaru saw an opening and wasn't wasting no time. But Mei came in and used her power to break the ground. But Gabimaru said, nah, I ain't leaving without one more, and shoots a rock at Chobei. Chobei uses his tentacle to lift Toma up and eats that shit. And he also says to wait for him coming back to his senses. It then cuts the Sagari group on what I'm guessing is the other side of the rocks where we saw the fight take place. The group keeps moving, and the wood dude says that this group of humans will be the ones to change everything. As they get near to the end, they see Gabimaru's group, and now they link up. We then see Fuchi mourn the death of Senta as they were pretty close, and now everyone is ready to leave, but Gabimaru and Mei are incapable of moving. Big Dog was about to deal the finishing blow to Toma as he was useless, but Sakura stopped that shit. Fuchi says that Gabimaru's wounds are more than just his physical body, and that his spirit has also been damaged. Gabimaru instantly wakes up, but he still doesn't have half of his memory, so he's just playing along with him for now. As Sagari tests him and asks who he is, Gabimaru replies saying that he's Gabimaru the Hollow, but she knew that nickname was from a whole season ago, and he knew his ass was caught. Fuchi and Shion protect her, with Shion using his sixth sense and seeing that his body and soul has basically been abused. So Sagari decides to handle this, and she tells him that she can cure him, but he's on guard and keeps smacking her, and she tells him that that's enough and pins him down to the ground, and their Tao starts circulating. Shion then says that they have something special, with Gabimaru feeling his strength returning and he starts to remember. The group now have to find a cave to camp in, with Yuzu saying that it took 5 of them to beat 1 Tenzin, and since they was fighting on away turf, that they were bound to notice sooner or later. Gabimaru says that he met one of them at the gate and apologizes for causing trouble. Now I don't know about y'all, but this hurt my soul. Seeing him all cute like this was not a good look, but Yuzu said that we ball and we need to get to the mainland because they got a better chance of escaping and reasoning with the Shogun than fighting the Tenzin. But Gabimaru says to cut that shit out as he can't see his wife without the partner. Yuzu then proceeds to that his wife essentially is an illusion put onto him by his old chief, but Gabimaru says that he can't be certain and that she is a real person. He then proceeds to hit us with a if you know, you know, and he remembers the small things like her touch. We then find out her name, which is Yui, and that strengthened his resolve even more. But Yuzu starts babbling, saying he exposed his weakness, but Shion said that could be his weakness but also his strength. Fast forward to Chobei, it shows that he's severely hurt, but he just regenerates again. But just as soon as this man finishes one fight, he instantly gets pulled up on again by a bunch of monsters this time though. But he wasn't tripping in the slightest as he makes quick work of them all. But as he's munching on monster meat, he gets pulled up on by none other than Rin. And then he gets asked if he is the one who killed the other Tenzin, Mudon, and the episode ends there. Now I know by the time this is coming out, a bunch more episodes will have come out and probably be nearing the end of the season. So if y'all want to see more of the anime, then make sure to let me know in the comment section. But without further ado, I'ma see y'all in the next one.